Welcome to Strong Legends, daily sci-fi stories that fuel your mind. Subscribe and join the legend.
Commander Ava Reyes forced herself to breathe steadily as she stepped over the bulkhead debris. The corridors of the Astra's Hope were a graveyard of twisted metal and shattered hollow consoles. Emergency lights flickered, casting long, jittering shadows against the scarred walls. Every step echoed across the hull, each footfall reminding her that this ship and its crew had already paid the highest price. She switched on her infrared scanner. The display flickered before locking onto a faint, irregular heat signature near the aft engine room. Her heart thudded. "Lieutenant Carr," she called into her comm, voice low but urgent. "I've got something. Small, moving, alive." "Copy that, ma'am." Carr's calm tone crackled back. "Extraction ETA, 2 minutes. We can send a retrieval drone, but you're closer." Ava offered a terse nod, though Carr couldn't see it. She advanced down the corridor, weapon raised but relaxed. The barrel's targeting laser danced across the mangled framework, illuminating. Swirls of alien glyphs etched into the bulkhead. Evidence of the Varathi stowaways the Astra's Hope had rescued months ago. She remembered their queen's sorrowful eyes when war first broke out. How she'd entrusted them to human protection in the chaos of hyperspace rifts. Those memories cut sharper than any shrapnel. Rounding a collapsed support ring, the corridor opened into a collapsed engine chamber. Vents hissed steam and the air tasted metallic. Through the green haze, Ava made out a youngster crouched low against the wreckage. The girl's uniform was torn, the insignia unrecognizable, save for the faint shimmer of bioluminescent threads, signifying Varathi royal lineage. "Kneel," Ava ordered gently, though she didn't want to frighten her. The girl's wide eyes, pupils as dark as obsidian, flicked to the rifle's barrel, then to Ava's calm face. Tiny fingers curled around something clenched to her chest. Ava holstered her weapon with deliberate slowness. "I'm here to help. My name is Commander Reyes." No response, only a stuttered breath. The girl's chest heaved beneath a cracked respirator mask. Ava reached into her pack and retrieved an oxygen unit, attaching it to the girl's mask port. "I'm initiating triage," she said. "Just keep still." As the mask hissed, Ava's suit sensors recorded a weak but steady heartbeat, far below optimal yet stubbornly alive. "Lieutenant Carr, start the med-op on this unit. Send medical nanites." "On it," came the reply. Footsteps approached. Carr's silhouette emerged from the haze, carrying a portable medkit. Ava scanned the chamber's walls. Faint scorch marks spoke of a plasma burst. Structural integrity was collapsing. She glanced back at the girl, whose eyelids fluttered as the nanites swarmed. Tense seconds passed before a soft, labored sigh escaped her lips. The girl's eyes opened. She stared at Ava, confusion and horror mingling in their depths. "Mother?" Her voice was a quavering whisper, fractured by emotion. Ava's breath caught. This child, no older than 9, had been adrift since the Rift Assault 5 years ago. Queen Thalorian's only daughter, lost without a trace. Now she was here, thousands of light years from home, under the protection of a human soldier. Ava knelt beside her, offering a hand. "I'm not your mother," she said softly, "but I will get you home." Liana's gaze flicked up to the scanner still glowing on Ava's wrist. Recognition dawned, childhood memories of Varathi lullabies and starlit gardens surfacing among the pain. She pressed the object in her hand against her chest. It was a small crystal pendant, carved in the shape of the rift's swirling vortex. Its surface glowed faintly, pulsing like a heartbeat. "That's yours," Ava murmured, recognizing the royal insignia. "They'll know who you are." A gust of air blasted down the corridor as the ship shuddered. Alarms wailed in the distance. Carr jabbed at his console. "Commander, we need to move. The hull's giving way." Ava stood, lifting Liana into her arms. The girl's weight was awkward but unresisting. She slung her arms around Ava's neck, tears streaking through the soot on her cheeks. "Hold on," Ava whispered, pivoting toward the exit. Behind her, the Astra's Hope creaked, metal groaning, under stress. They sprinted through the twisting corridor, sparks raining from exposed conduits. Behind them, a fuse of plasma energy exploded, sealing the path in molten metal. Ava vaulted over the barrier, Liana clinging tight. "Brace yourself." They tumbled down the ramp into the extraction bay, just as the shuttle's loading doors hissed open. Carr extended a hand. With one smooth motion, Ava handed him Liana and scrambled aboard. The doors sealed. Ava darted to the cockpit. "Engines to full thrust, get us out," she barked. Outside the viewport, the Astra's Hope glowed like a dying star against the black backdrop. Seconds later, a pulse of red light flared as the shuttle punched into hyperspace, leaving destruction behind. Ava exhaled, shoulders sagging. Carr checked Liana's vitals on a console. "She's stable, Commander." Ava turned, looking at the sleeping child. Injured, fragile, but alive. A single tear traced a line down her cheek. "Report to Queen Thalorian. The princess lives." As the shuttle slipped through the rift, Ava pressed her palm to the viewport, facing the swirling cosmic storm that had cost so many lives, and hoping that one day it would also heal the wounds it had opened. Commander Ava Reyes settled into the pilot's chair as the shuttle hummed through hyperspace, its walls vibrating with the hum of folded space engines. Liana lay on a makeshift cot in the rear compartment, her chest rising and falling in shallow, uneven breaths. The med-nanites were working, but slowly. She was weak, traumatized, and far from home. Ava checked her comm unit. Lieutenant Carr's voice crackled through. "Commander, life signs are stable now, but her vital readings are erratic. She's been exposed to rift energies. I've never seen cellular patterns like these. We should—" "Let's give her time," Ava interrupted, keeping her eyes on the hyperspace readout. "She's been out there for 5 years. Her body needs a moment to remember how to live." Carr sighed. "Understood. I'll monitor and adjust." Ava exhaled and stood, muscles stiff from the adrenaline surge. She walked to the rear compartment and opened the sliding hatch. The ambient light, calibrated for calm, revealed Liana's face. Pale, almost translucent, framed by dark wind-whipped hair. The bioluminescent filaments woven into her uniform still pulsed softly, like a trapped firefly. Ava knelt beside the cot. "Liana," she said, voice gentle. "I know you're frightened, but you're safe. We're taking you home." Liana's eyelids fluttered. She muttered something in Varathi, a lyrical language of rising tones and liquid consonants. Ava didn't know the words, but in that moment the girl's hand found her own, gripping with surprising strength. Ava squeezed back. "I'm here, Liana. I'm here." The shuttle's corridor lights dimmed as Ava returned to the cockpit. She glanced at the hollow navigation display. Varath was still 6 light hours away. 6 hours before Liana could reunite with her mother. 6 hours to prepare a proper handoff, and to learn everything she could about the child in her care. The journey was quiet, save for the hum of the fold drive. Carr watched the monitors intently, occasionally flipping through data on rift-based trauma. "Commander," he said after a long pause, "you've been to Varath before. What should I expect when we arrive?" Ava rested her chin on her fist. "Varath is beautiful and solemn. The capital city, Lycerus, is built around a crystalline palace that reflects both suns. You'll see colors you can't name." She paused, recalling her first mission there. "The Varathi are a proud people. Their queen, Thalorian, lost her daughter 5 years ago. They believed Liana was gone forever." Carr nodded. "Well, we've got a miracle on board then." Ava smiled wryly. "Let's hope they appreciate the deliverance without defaulting to civil war over succession." In the medbay conversion aft, Carr studied the rift readings on his console. Liana's cells glowed faintly under the nanoscan, residual energy echoing the rift's signature. "I've stabilized her cardiac rhythms," he told Ava when she checked in, "but neurological anomalies persist. She's dreaming, fast patterns, heavy theta waves." Ava knelt beside the cot, brushing a strand of hair from Liana's forehead. "Dreams of home?" Carr shook his head. I'm not sure. Her mind's weaving memories and something else. The rift's influence, maybe. Ava frowned. Keep the sedatives light. I want her lucid by arrival. Carr tapped the console. Understood. Liana's eyes flickered open. She tried to sit up, wincing at the ache in her ribs. Ava offered her an electrolyte gel sachet. Here, she said softly. You need energy. Liana eyed the sachet, warily, but her hunger won out. She ripped it open and downed the gel in 2 swift gulps, wincing at the sweetness. She swallowed, licked her lips, and met Ava's gaze. Her dark eyes brimmed with questions, and something else. Hunger for recognition. Ava leaned in. You've been through a lot. When you're ready, can you tell me your name? Liana, the girl whispered, voice hoarse. Princess Liana Thalorian of Varath. Ava felt a tug in her chest. Princess, she repeated, as if savoring the word. I'm honored. I'm Ava Reyes. I promise I'll keep you safe. Liana's lips quivered in a ghost of a smile. Why did you save me? Ava hesitated. Because no child, no one, deserves to die alone in the dark. Liana blinked, absorbing the weight of that. She closed her eyes, breathing in Ava's scent, a mix of ozone and lavender from her uniform's fabric softener. Then she whispered almost to herself, Mother, I must see her. Ava nodded. Soon. As the shuttle slipped closer to Varath, the hyperspace glow dimmed. In the cockpit, the swirling rift energy gave way to the serene blues and purples of normal space. Ava engaged the deceleration thrusters, and the shuttle shuddered as it dropped out of hyperspace. Beyond the viewport lay Varath's twin suns rising over a planet covered in violet oceans and emerald forests. Lyceris, the capital, gleamed like a sapphire jewel embedded in white crystalline spires. Ava inhaled, feeling the familiar stir of awe. Beautiful. Carr breathed. Ava nodded, emotion catching her throat. Beautiful and broken. Let's hope Liana still recognizes it. She keyed the comm. Queen Thalorian's palace, this is Commander Reyes. We're initiating final approach. Request clearance to land in the Royal Court's private dock. Moment of tense silence followed. Then a calm, regal voice, Queen Thalorian's, replied, Clearance granted. We await our daughter's return. Godspeed, Commander. Ava exhaled, steeling herself. Shuttle, prepare for docking. In the rear compartment, Liana stirred again, her eyes following the stars as they blurred and then snapped into focus. She felt a gentle pull, like the tug of the tide, and the view outside shifted to towering crystals and undulating waterways. Liana pressed her hand against the bulkhead, marveling at the sight. Varath, she breathed, voice stronger. I'm home. Ava slipped inside and offered her hand. Ready, Princess? Liana took it, determination shining through her fragility. Yes. Ava brushed a tear from her own eye. Then let's bring you back to your mother. Together they walked toward the front hatch, stepping closer to reunion, and the dawn of a new chapter for both worlds. The shuttle glided through the final stretch of hyperspace, its sleek hull humming with suppressed tension. In the cockpit's amber glow, Commander Ava Reyes leaned forward, eyes fixed on the navigation console as it traced their approach vector toward Varath's royal court. Lieutenant Carr sat beside her, fingers dancing over the comm panel, relaying status updates to the palace. Between them, the air felt charged, as though the ship itself sensed the gravity of the moment. Behind a reinforced bulkhead, Princess Liana rested on a narrow biobed, her breathing steadier now that the med-nanites had adapted to her alien physiology. Ava stole a glance through the small viewport. The familiar crystalline spires of Lyceris grew larger against the violet skies. Each passing second threaded homeward into sharper focus for Liana, and for Ava, whose own daughter's memory tugged at her heart. Ava eased back into her chair and cleared her throat. Carr, how are we looking on Princess Liana's vitals? Carr swiveled toward her. Stable, though the rift residue still shows in neural scans. I've configured the sedatives to fade out as we dock. Let her awaken naturally when we're down. We'll need her lucid for the reunion. He tapped the console. Palace medical teams are primed to take over the moment we touch down. Ava nodded, her thoughts drifting to the palace protocols she'd studied en route. Varathi court customs were intricate. Honor rituals, ceremonial flows of crystalline water, songs that resonated through the halls like living music. She'd learned enough to stand respectfully at a safe distance, but she'd leave the delicate diplomacy to the palace dignitaries. Her mission was clear: deliver the princess, alive and unharmed. In the rear compartment, Liana's eyes fluttered open. The ambient lights transitioned to a soft lavender as Carr signaled it was time. The princess pushed herself up, leaning against the side of the bed. "Commander Reyes?" Her voice was a raw whisper, but filled with urgency. We're near home?" Ava hurried back, kneeling beside Liana. Through the hatch's reinforced window, the palace dock's crystalline arches glinted in twin sunlight. "We are," Ava confirmed, brushing soot from Liana's uniform. "Just minutes away. How do you feel?" Liana's dark eyes swept the view, tears welling. Nervous and brave. She pressed a trembling palm to the glass, as if touching Vareth itself. "Mother must be waiting." Ava offered her hand. "She is, and soon you'll be in her arms." A low chime echoed through the cockpit. Carr's voice crackled. Docking clamps engaged, airlock cycle in 10 seconds. Ava exhaled. "Best of luck, Carr. Keep channels open. Any last-minute orders from the palace go through you." "Understood, ma'am." Carr winked. "Don't worry. You'll nail this landing." The shuttle's hull shuddered gently as the airlock sealed. The exterior lights flicked through a spectrum of blues and violets, then stilled. Ava gave Liana a reassuring smile. "Ready?" The princess squared her shoulders, eyes bright with resolve. "Ready?" As the forward hatch clanged open, a wash of warm air spilled in, scented with the crystalline gardens beyond. A silent line of palace guards in iridescent armor stood ready, their helms tucked under arms in deference. At their head, the royal emissary bowed deeply. "Princess Liana," he intoned, voice resonant. "Queen Thalorian awaits." Ava stepped aside, placing Liana gently into the emissary's waiting arms. The princess clung to Ava's uniform for a heartbeat more, then straightened and strode forward, lifted aloft by hope and relief. Ava watched her go, heart swelling with pride and an ache of her own. The journey was almost complete, yet in that moment she realized her role had forever changed both worlds. With a final nod to Carr, Commander Reyes turned back to the cockpit. "Report to Queen Thalorian. The princess is aboard my shuttle and in your care." Carr's fingers moved over the comm panel. "Message sent. Welcome home, princess." Ava settled into the pilot's chair once more, engines primed. Through the viewport, Vareth's twin sons shone down on a future reborn, and on a human soldier who had become a bridge between hope and home. The grand airlock doors parted with a soft trill, revealing the palace courtyard bathed in kaleidoscopic light. Sunbeams refracted through towering crystal pillars, scattering prisms of violet, sapphire, and rose across the marble floor. The gentle hum of the palace's bioluminescent gardens drifted on warm breezes, and distant choirs of Varathi chanters wove a celestial tapestry of sound. Commander Ava Reyes stepped forward. Liana Thalorian's small hand settled in hers, each footfall echoing in the hushed expanse. At the heart of the courtyard, beneath an arch of living crystal vines, stood Queen Thalorian. Her regal bearing was luminous even at rest, sapphire robes embroidered with starlight threads, a silver circlet nestling atop her midnight hair. Yet as the shuttle's hatch sealed behind them, the steel in her posture softened. The Queen's breath caught. Courtiers bowed, guards lowered their blades, and the courtyard seemed to hold its breath. Liana glanced up at Ava, uncertainty flickering in her dark eyes. Ava gently squeezed her hand, Go on, she urged in a low voice. She's waiting for you. Gathering her resolve, Lyanna stepped forward. At first her movement was hesitant, one small foot in front of the other, but with each step the child grew surer, as if the crystal light itself guided her. Queen Thalorian's hands flexed at her sides. Then she took a breath and lifted her arms. Lyanna, my heart's own song. The queen's voice wavered, halting the choirs for a single sacred moment. As mother and daughter closed the final distance, time fractured. Lyanna broke into a run, hurling herself into Thalorian's arms. The queen caught her with practiced grace, though the magnitude of her grief and joy finally broke her composure. Tears glimmered like dew on her eyelashes. Mama, Lyanna whispered, voice trembling. I'm back. Blessed starlight, the queen sobbed, cradling Lyanna's head against her chest. Her crown slipped slightly and a court attendant moved to steady it, but Thalorian waved her away. My life returned to me. Ava hung back, tears brimming under her own visor. She felt the weight of every sacrifice, every skillful maneuver. In the rift, every prayer sent across impossible light years distilled into this moment. Queen Thalorian's gaze lifted, and she saw the human soldier standing just beyond the circle of crystal shards. Commander Reyes, the queen said, voice steadied by royal decree. You have given me back my daughter. Her hand, still, trembling, extended the missing crystal pendant that Lyanna had clutched aboard the Astra's Hope. This belonged to her at birth. I feared it lost forever. Lyanna nestled closer, pressing the pendant against her mother's chest. Thalorian turned to Ava, regal dignity mingling with maternal relief. Accept the Star of Varath, she said, removing the sapphire and diamond, metal from her robes, for valor beyond any constellation. She fastened the medal to Ava's uniform. It settled over her heart, gleaming in the refracted light. Ava bowed deeply, voice hushed. Your Majesty, it was my honor to serve. The queen paused, as if weighing the depth of that service, then inclined her head. You have served us all. Today, you have bridged worlds. From the galleries, the chanters resumed their hymn, this time a triumphant crescendo. Courtiers wept openly, and even the palace sentries whispered among themselves, marveling that the rift, a scar in the stars, had produced a miracle. Thalorian gathered Lyanna's hand in hers and turned toward Ava. Would you join us in the Hall of Reflection? There, we share our stories and our futures. The queen's invitation was more than courtesy. It was an alliance forged in tears and hope. Ava met the queen's eyes steady under the new weight of the Star of Varath. I would be honored. As they walked side by side, human soldier, alien queen, and returned princess, the crystal light wove around them, heralding a new dawn. In the echo of their footsteps, the promise lingered, that through courage and compassion, even the vastest void could be made whole again. The Hall of Reflection lay at the heart of the palace, its walls carved from living crystal veins that pulsed gently like a heartbeat. Under vaulted arches of opalescent light, delegations from both the United Earth Coalition and Varath's High Court gathered for the peace conquered, a summit 5 years in the making, now reborn in hope. Commander Ava Reyes stood just inside the entrance, the Star of Varath heavy against her chest, and watched as Queen Thalorian and Princess Lyanna took their places at the dais. A hush fell as the queen rose. In her hand she held the rift pendant, Lyanna's birth talisman, now set in a circlet of human steel and Varathi sapphire. Today, Thalorian began, voice resonant through the hall, we do not simply reunite a mother and daughter. We forge a new bond between our peoples. From the wounds of the Great Rift War, a bridge of trust has been built upon one warrior's compassion. She swept her gaze to Ava. We honor you. Ava stepped forward, steadied herself, and addressed the assembly. On Earth, she said, we were taught that every life is sacred no matter the shape, color, or song of your heart. It was my duty, yet it has become my greatest privilege to stand among you today. Behind her, Lyanna reached up to clasp her hand offering a quiet grace that made the assembled delegates stir in approval. When the formal rites concluded, courtiers and soldiers from both worlds processed into the courtyard. Crystal fountains spouted iridescent water that caught the sun's light, creating a shimmering rainbow mist. At long tables draped with violet silks, Varathi delicacies, bioluminescent fruit pearls, spiced nebula blossoms, sat alongside human staples, crusty breads, spiced meats, and fruit wines. Laughter rose as aliens and humans tasted one another's cuisines, discovering delight in shared sweetness and spice. Ava found herself seated between Ambassador Helios, the Earth delegate, whose measured diplomacy had guided the coalition through the war's darkest days, and Lady Ceres, the Queen's chief cultural envoy. They spoke in low tones of future treaties, joint starship academies, rift research stations to prevent further catastrophes, and student exchanges so that human and Varathi children could grow up without the shadow of war. Near the end of the banquet, Lyanna slipped from her mother's side and joined Ava. In her hand was the crystal pendant, now a token of both worlds. "For you," she said, placing it gently in Ava's palm, "so you always remember that our hearts are linked." Ava closed her fingers around the gleaming crystal. "And so you remember there is someone on Earth who will always be your friend," as the twin suns set, painting the sky in hues of violet and rose. Ava took one last look at Varath's crystalline spires. In the fading light, the palace glowed like an ember of possibility. She knew her journey would soon continue, back to Earth's distant blue world, to reunite with her own kin, to carry tales of a planet healed by compassion. Princess Lyanna waved from the balcony above, her silhouette framed by crystalline vines. Queen Thalorian stood beside her, dignified yet relaxed, a mother at peace. And Ava Reyes, human soldier turned envoy, felt the weight of history shift beneath her boots. The rift still arced across the galaxy, a reminder of chaos, but now it was bridged by trust, courage, and the promise of new horizons. As night fell and the first stars emerged, Ava whispered to the pendant in her hand, "This is only the beginning." And somewhere in the depths of the rift a spark of light flickered, a beacon of the new dawn she had helped to ignite.